Hi, this is Jeff Burbrink. I'm with the Purdue Extension Service in Elkhart County, Indiana. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about a species that a lot of people don't realize is an invasive species, but we have a lot of it grown in yards and landscapes all over Indiana and Michigan. And that is the burning bush. Now, it has several different names. One of them is winged euonymus. The other Latin name is Euonymus alata. It's a native of Asia, was brought here as a landscaping plant, and it is a beautiful landscaping plant. Turns bright red in the fall, intense color, almost hurts your eyes, it's so intense. Makes a great border plant. A lot of people put them along a border between two homes or along a fence line, especially when they're clustered together. It can make a really impressive sight. Unfortunately, one of their growing habits is that they produce a lot of seeds that are attracted to birds. And birds will, of course, eat those seeds. And then as they fly away, they land in trees like this one, or your windbreak, or your privacy screening, or the forested areas around a subdivision, and they will do their business. And unfortunately, inside that business, those seeds remain viable. They land on the forest floor, they land down here in the soil underneath these trees, and they're still viable seeds. So they sprout eventually. They may lay there 5, 6, 7 years. In fact, there hasn't been any burning bush on this property for more than 5 years now, and they're still sprouting. So the key thing is to get them under control is that you need to treat them or cut them down. Now, if you treat them, you of course want to be careful about the neighboring shrubbery and that sort of thing that you want to preserve. If I were to come here and just hose it down with glyphosate, I might do a little bit of damage. So if you do use glyphosate, which is possible, just keep as much as you can off of the good foliage here. This is an 80-foot tall tree. Getting a little bit of glyphosate on it isn't going to hurt a thing. Giving it a douse all the way around the tree to control all these little seedlings could be enough to harm the tree. So you want to be a little careful about that. If you choose to, you could also hand pull the plants. Well, there's probably several thousand plants around this tree and the other tree on this property. And I don't know that I can physically go about pulling all those things out. And some of those things have pretty good root systems. As you can see here, this is a root system of just one plant, and it was anchored well enough that I had to use a pair of pliers to pull it out so you could see the roots. The third option is to cut them off. And when you cut the plants off, sometimes you're going to find that the plant will try to grow back from that stubbins that you've just left. So if you cut them off, one of the things you might have to do is treat that little stump. There's a number of products you can use, including glyphosate, 2,4-D, triclopyr. They're among some of the more popular ones. You mix them maybe 50% with water and 50% with the actual product. So you're using them at a fairly strong rate. You would go down here, you'd cut that plant off, and then you put just one little tiny drip on there. It doesn't take very much, but you're just essentially wanting to kill that stump. The other option would be that if you would come in here and mow it or clip them off somehow without damaging the valuable tree, of course, but you're going to have to do that several times throughout the summer to make sure that those things don't get enough energy to keep popping back up again. Now, I didn't mention the big controversy about burning bush. If you ask any conservationist, burning bush or Euonymus alata is on their list as an invasive species. However, it's still sold in many nurseries, and nurserymen love it. It's a beautiful plant. A lot of homeowners love it. They don't see it as being a problem because they don't see the issue outside of their own yard. It just simply doesn't come up as a weed in most yards because you're mowing it pretty consistently, and they just can't survive that pressure. But most nurseries like that plant. And in some situations, you might hear that the that the burning bush that's growing up underneath a tree like this is not the burning bush that is the one sold at the nurseries. And in this case, this is one that was sold from a nursery. This is the product of that. Now, how you can tell the difference is that the winged euonymus, or the nursery version of the euonymus plant, has some small, when they're this small, they have small brown lines on the stem. Those small brown lines, as the plant gets older, become a corky wing-like structure that will be on 4 sides of that stem, hence the name winged euonymus. So the winged euonymus is from Asia. That is the invasive species, and that is how you can tell the difference between the winged euonymus and the wild burning bush, also known as wahoo. Interestingly, wahoo got its name because it has laxative properties. It's no longer licensed to use it through the FDA because it also has some poison aspects, but the Indians used to use wahoo as a laxative, and when they had success, they'd go wahoo. So, there's an interesting fact you can talk about at the dinner table tonight. This has been Jeff Burbrink with a report today from the Purdue Extension office in Elkhart County.